in their prime, Sanders or Peterson? We welcome in our coach, Eric Mangini. How are you?
Good to be here.
Now you're on the hot seat.
Now you're on the hot seat.
Yeah,
you have to pick. You can't say
I
both.
know I have to pick. I understand that completely. Are you guys going to start it? Or?
You're starting it. It's on you.
I'm starting the dance. Okay.
You're the coach.
We just follow your lead.
I went back and looked through the statistics to see if there was a marked difference, and there really isn't. Barry, in his best year, was 6.1. Adrian was 6.0. The touchdowns are the same. Adrian's had a little bit more in terms of total yards last year than Barry's best season, which was 1997.
Sure.
But he had 14 more carries. Here's what I'll tell you. In 1997, I was with the Jets. We had to play the Lions at Detroit. If we won, we go to the playoffs. If they win, they go to the playoffs. And we spent all week working on stopping Barry Sanders. We had a triangle of guys where we get our most elusive guy and have him try to break the triangle. Mm-hmm. Everybody work on leverage. We were pretty good through 3 quarters of the game. And then Barry did what Barry does, or did to everybody, and broke our heart. And I think that he made that line look really good, and you never knew where he was going to go. Now, Adrian Peterson had faced him several times.
Yep.
Bigger, doesn't lose yards, tough, great stiff arm. You can't go wrong with either of these guys. I would go with Barry.
Okay. Barry Sanders, says the coach.
Wow.
Stephen A.?
You
agree?
surprised me with the conclusion. I thought you were going the other way.
No, it's just in facing both of those guys and the challenge of dealing with both those guys, I just remember how painfully difficult it was to stop Barry's. And look, taking nothing away from Adrian Peterson, it was just...
Coach is an old school guy. Stephen A.?
Not that old school.
Well, you picked old school.
I'm going to tell you something right now. This is one of those questions where I literally wanted to take the segment off. I didn't want to answer this question.
You're kidding.
And you think I did.
I mean, I really did. I did not want to answer this question because I love me some Barry Sanders. He is phenomenal. And just, he was a show. I mean, one of the greatest shows in NFL, if not the greatest show in NFL history I've ever seen. You went through the turnstiles to watch this boy do what he did. I mean, he was just that special.
And very rarely were you disappointed.
Very rarely, right? But when I look at him, despite the 5 yards per carry average, despite the one season, because really his lowest season, what was that? 1993. Mm-hmm. He only had 1,115 yards. That's because the Thanksgiving Day game, he injured his left knee. And so he missed the final 5 games of the regular season. So he had 1,115 yards in 11 games. All right? And that was his lowest output in his 10-year career. The boy, just ridiculously big time. But I also remember so many times when he lost yardage. Mm-hmm. Now, he'd break your heart eventually. He was coming, but he had to get his carries to do it. Adrian Peterson, north-south dude. I mean, he's coming. He's not losing yardage. He's bigger, all right? And I don't want to say he's strong because Barry Sanders was deceptively strong, but because he looks short, stocky, and what have you. But at the same time, Adrian Peterson will not only run by you, sometimes he'd run over you. He'd run through you. And the numbers are what they are. They're incredibly comparable. And a lot of times, more times than not, you're just looking for that 3rd and 2. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or whatever the case may be. And Adrian Peterson's that guy that'll get it for you. Now, Barry will get more or he'll get less. Mm-hmm. You understand? And then there was a multitude of ways he'd break your heart. Most of them good, occasionally bad. Mm-hmm. Adrian Peterson's not that guy. I would have to go with AP because after last season, the Barry Sanders all-time rushing in the single season, 2,053 yards. Adrian Peterson, 2,097. It's like everything Barry has done, he has done or is on the verge of doing. And I hate it because I don't like picking against Barry at all. But I think that highly of Adrian Peterson. He is just that legit. And to come off the nasty injury he came off of and do it, to me, that's...
Well, we gave up 184 yards to him in that game. And he fell short of the record that year by 53. But he had 14 less carries than Adrian Peterson had this past season.
Right.
I think if he had carried the ball 14 more times against us in that game, he might have broke the record. And the last thing I'll say before you go, Skip, is the difficulty with Barry is that as much as you tried to set a scheme, because of his change of direction, because of the way that he attacked the whole field, and you didn't know where he was going to go, it forced you to be sound across the board every single play. And not that Adrian Peterson can't do that, but Stephen A. is right. It is more north-south, and it tends to stay on the side that he goes through. So that's where it is from a challenging perspective.
Okay, I would rather watch Barry Sanders any Sunday.
Oh, that's great. I agree
or
with
any
that.
Monday night.
I agree with
rather
that.
watch Barry Sanders.
Totally agree
That's
with
not
that.
even close.
Yeah, that's not even close.
I would rather have Adrian Peterson. If we're, I don't know exactly what our question is
In
here,
their
but
prime, who'd you take?
okay, you're doing like who's better in their prime.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more like if I can start my team with one or the other, I'm starting with Adrian Peterson.
Okay.
Just because you know this, there are a lot of times short yardage and goal line that they had to take Barry out of the game because he just can't do that. So Adrian Peterson can do that, and he can do the 80-yard thing too. So he can beat you inside, he can beat you off tackle. Maybe not outside, although occasionally he does.
He just wouldn't buckle your knees or break
No.
your ankles.
No,
That's all.
I must say, because I watched Adrian Peterson so much in college because I'm an Oklahoma fan, and he did frustrate me in college because he will have none-yard gains, as Coach Madden used to say, where he'll just get 0, 0, 0, and then all of a sudden he'll break one for 8 or 10 or 11 or 12. And he will hammer you into submission in the fourth quarter. And Barry can't do that. He will hammer you into mental submission because you keep trying to contain, and all of a sudden he slips through and he's gone. And yet, if for the long term, to win football games, you can win more games, I think, with Adrian Peterson. Even though he bedevils you. He keeps you up all night as a defensive coordinator. And I went through it with the Dallas staffs a lot, even in the playoff games that they played Detroit. They just couldn't sleep because of Barry Sanders. But in the end, they know that he can be contained and he can't beat you on short yardage and goal line. You see what I mean? Like if we're doing the overall package, I'll take the Adrian Peterson package.
Yeah, and typically the scheme that I like in terms of the running game is a north-south gap trap type of running scheme that Adrian Peterson does really well. It's just, when this question was first asked, after coaching against both those guys, my immediate gut reaction in terms of the anxiety that they created was Barry was the harder guy to deal with. Now, that's after watching all season long, where everybody in the world was trying to stop Adrian Peterson, and they couldn't. You know, I wasn't dealing with that this season.
The other factor is durability. Now, even though Adrian Peterson has been pretty much reliable, because if you look at his career, with the exception of the injury, there was only one time in his rookie year he played the 14 games as opposed to 16.
Yeah.
But
he got beat up in college a lot.
He got beat
had
up
4
in
or
college.
5 different things.
I guess for me, when I look at Barry, you look at Adrian Peterson, and as a defender, you're like, let me get my hands on him if I could just get a clean shot. You look at Barry, you want to just stand still. You're hoping he won't get by you because he'll put a move on you. I mean, Barry Sanders to this day is the only guy that I ever saw that made a tackler literally turn around. The guy is trying to tackle him, but he's got his back to Barry because he can't find him.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he had him twisting and turning all over the place. We've seen that footage 1,000 times. I've never seen a runner do that in my life other than Barry Sanders. So in that regard, you're frightened to death because you're trying to stand still and you're hoping, he'll just come in your direction so you can just grab him. You're not even thinking about getting a solid hit on him. You just want to grab Barry.
Right. Whereas
with Adrian, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get him. You never do. You almost never do. But you think you can because he's north.
And sometimes when you get Adrian, you wish you didn't.
That's right.
That's the other component of him.
Coach, always a pleasure when you upgrade us.
That's very nice. Skip, you agree with that?
Today
That's
I
the next
agree.
segment. That's the next segment.
We debate that next. Coming up next.